get co-host stuff going. Sippi, do you want me to give you co-host, or do you think that's gonna fuck things up too much like you did last time?
Yeah, don't worry about giving me co-host. Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out into some chats.
Yeah. Are we live yet? Because I'm going to post it over on Facebook.
Yep, we are live.
Live.
I did post the Rumble link myself as well over on the face space. We are up and running.
Don't jinx us now.
What I do though. I'm gonna double check that audio is good. You ready to roll?
I'm finally trying the Vivas in 1 week.
That's the ad. I don't want full premium on this account. Stop giving me ads.
You're an ad.
Face is an ad. Okay. All right. Audio is running just fine, so we are good. So we're ready to start whenever you are, Sippi. For those that aren't aware, Sippi was actually in the courtroom all day today. So you'll be getting a first-hand account of what went on. Whenever you're ready, Sippi. Bueller. Muted.
Stop with the Jeopardy music.
Do, 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 do. It'll take him just a second. He's, you know, not at home because he's in Texas, so.
He's a little slow.
That too.
A stream on Facebook trying to get some more people in here. Just make it interesting for people for a minute.
Oh, I'm good at that. I make everything interesting.
We know.
And for those of you that are joining us for the first time, I am the Jinxed portion of JinxedSip. Sippi is the Sip portion. We do stream on Wednesdays and Sundays normally, 8 p.m. Central. But we're doing a special occasion for this one because I feel like, well, Sippi and I both feel like this is information that needs to get out there so everybody can be aware of what's going on. Truth is our space moderator. That's why he has the co-host tag. He will be the one that primarily vets accounts that request microphones just to make sure they're not troll accounts or bots or whatever. We don't mind people coming up with opposing positions. We just don't want you to be a troll about it. Be able to have a true conversation. So Sippi's getting a post out on Facebook and then he'll be ready to go. I know he has a lot of information to share with you guys tonight. I've gotten bits and pieces of it, and from what I've heard so far, it's going to be good. I just don't have all of it. So we're going to get started shortly. So I want to say hi to everybody that's currently watching us on YouTube and Rumble. Thank you for joining us. If you do wish to pick up a microphone and ask questions to Sippi, when he's ready for taking questions, you can join us on the X space. I'm hosting it on Jinxed Reality X on X. And then you should also be able to find it through Truth and Sippi on X. I hope everybody is having a good week. I'm still waiting for Sippi.
Not too bad.
Am I keeping it interesting enough? A little intro spiel.
It's almost Friday.
Dude, I have no idea why it's taking so long to post on Facebook.
Well, Facebook takes time. It says, we'll let you know when your post is ready. As long as it's giving you that, I say let's just roll.
Got it.
No, it literally still says posting. It's not, we'll let you know. It's like posting.
Oh, well, you also don't have the most reliable internet where you are. So I think
yeah,
rolling.
It says 5G plus. That's a lie. Anyways, I'm just saying. Fucking lie. Like, what the fuck? Can y'all hear me?
Yep, we can hear you just fine. We're
Yep.
good.
Okay, well, it just automatically just keeps remuting me, which is really fucking annoying.
That is annoying.
Let me see if Facebook's done yet. No, it still says posting.
Oh, I just said let it
'Cause,
go.
see,
Do
I
its
got,
thing.
well, it's like, well, I mean, I've got,
Yep. We lost you for a second there, Sippy. Sorry, guys. He doesn't have the most reliable internet where he is. We're trying here. Difficult when he only has his phone to work with here.
I actually have our JinxedSip, I have our JinxedSip laptop with me, but I don't have reliable Wi-Fi, so
Yeah.
wouldn't really help.
No, it wouldn't. It would not.
Anyways, I'm getting there. It's gonna be spicy. Jinx, for the stream people, you can like just start going through like my morning post because I kind of explain a little bit in that.
Sure.
And I'm just waiting on people to get in here. So
Sure. So
I'm
Sippy did
waiting for Facebook to post. That's crazy.
make a couple of posts this morning. He started with time in line this morning. I'm putting both of the posts up in the jumbo for those of you that are in the X space. But I'm gonna play the video with audio for those of you on the stream. So he starts with being in line. So he had about a dozen-ish people in front of him in line, and directly in front of him was the Black Panther, the new Black Panther Party that has been going in, and he was in yesterday, like in full garb yesterday, just trying to be intimidating. Wasn't really working. And then he did post another one, and they were already doing chanting at
Oh, you
#him.
kind of missed a part. You missed a part?
I'm just trying to play the videos.
But I know, but you missed a part, a very important part of what the Black Panther bodyguard was doing. I'm doing air quotes, but y'all can't see me because I'm not actually like showing where I'm at because I don't want to fucking tell people where I'm at right now. I'd much rather not have to like murder somebody right now. Anyways,
It'd be self-defense.
yeah, I'd still have to defend that in court, and that's expensive. So
It is.
I would much rather not have to do that. So basically, this motherfucker was sitting there and he was ushering everybody in front of me
That's
like I
fair.
wasn't standing there. Right. So I just walk up to this dude and I'm like, we ain't fucking doing this right now. We ain't fucking doing this. And he's like, no, no, she's right. She's right. This woman goes in front of you. I was like, if you want to keep fucking playing, we can fucking play, but we ain't fucking doing this right now. And then deputy walked over and I'm like, bro, he's ushering people in front of me, and I've been here since 4. And it was at that time it was about 4:30. Well, I think I got there about 4:15, if I'm being honest. So about 4:30, he's ushering people in front of me that weren't actually in front of me. Like they showed up way later than me. Um, and I didn't back down from his dumb ass. Then after that, he just stared at me the whole fucking time, like right up in my face, stared at me. And I'm like, if you want to play this game, we could play this game. I even asked him if he wanted to kiss me. He was that close. Fucking ugly motherfucker.
That's totally
Um,
something you would ask too.
hell yeah. I was like, you want to kiss me? And then I was like, take a picture of the fucking last longer, you piece of shit. And then I called him a racist. And then everybody came at me like, he's not racist. I'm like, he's wearing fucking Black Panther uniform, dude. What is Black Panthers? Black supremacists. That is like the
True.
definition of racist.
True.
I'm just saying. Like 100% he's racist. Like just by wearing the uniform, he's fucking racist. Anyways, so after all that commotion, Janetta Brantley, the woman that did the enhancing, that's also air quotes, of the CETO call for the Nolan Wells thing. I hope y'all can't hear that music in the background.
No, you're good.
Okay, good. Because I like big butts is what it is. Anyways.
I mean, it's a good song.
It is, but I don't want to play it on the stream.
But we also don't want to get a copyright strike either.
Yeah, that too. All right. So, anyways, Janetta Brantley's wife realized who I was because Nick at night said, "Oh, that's Sippi," and I was like, "Okay, here we go." So her wife comes up. I think her name's Ashley, and then she's like, "Do you mind if I record this?" I was like, "Go for it." I mean, I could have recorded, but I was already surrounded, so I was kind of like more watching out for myself than pulling out my phone and trying to record shit. But I think tomorrow I'm just gonna fucking record shit. If somebody comes at me, I'm just gonna go with the kill shot. Anyways, y'all didn't hear that. But that's only if they come at me. But they'll take that out of context. Anyway,
Oh,
so
absolutely.
fucking 100% because I'm about to tell you how they took shit out of context.
We got 123 watching on Rumble and 17 on YouTube, so I can imagine that at least some of them are Karmelo supporters.
Oh
so
yeah,
they
100%. Yeah.
They want the deets.
What's up, Neek? I know she's one of them.
Oh, sure.
Anyways, oh yeah, she's been stalking my account.
They
It's
love
funny as
you.
fuck. Oh yeah, she even told her followers to come over to look at my account because I was all over, or she was all over my account. And I'm like, I posted once about you and reposted when Sarah posted about you getting the courtroom video or whatever, or the courthouse video. Anyways, beside the point. So Ashley Brantley starts coming at me. You know, she was slightly aggressive, but she was respectful, right? At first. Um, I don't know that she ever really got disrespectful, honestly, if I'm being honest. But anyways, we'll get to that. But so she starts talking to me and she's like, "Do you really think like our tongues should be cut out of our mouth?" And I was like, "Dude, I wasn't even talking about you. If y'all don't know, she went or Janetta went on Don Lemon's show with a out of context screen recording of a space that I was in, where I was talking about it, like talking about something, not about them at all, actually. We were talking about, I think it was the Washington Post or Washington Times. It was Washington something that had an anonymous source that was wrong about Anna Paulina Luna. And I said, "Oh, we should just cut their fucking tongues out if they're caught constantly lying." And I was talking about the media corporations, as in take away their FCC license. But it is what it is. What it is. It is what it is. Sorry, my burger just got here. So, but anyways, where was that?
So Brantley's wife.
Yeah, Brantley's wife. She's talking to me, and then she's like, "Well, you're here representing Sarah Fields, aren't you?" And I'm like, "No, I am collabing with Sarah Fields." And she's like, "Well, you're on her team that doxed us." I'm like, "No, I actually didn't even look you up." Like, she has her own research team. JinxedSip is a separate entity.
That is correct.
we collab with Sarah, but we're our own teams. If that makes sense to anybody.
Not according to TMZ, apparently.
Oh,
Now,
TMZ.
granted, TMZ's fucking retarded. Anyways,
Yeah.
either way it goes, it's like, yeah, we work closely with her, but we're not like part of her team. Like, we have our own team, which are right here on the panel right now. Well, we kind of claim truth, but you know.
Sometimes when we're feeling
Anyway,
terrible.
yeah,
It's stuck with me.
So we got, let's see. Anyway, she starts asking me all this shit, and then she starts asking me, "Well, since Sarah has been caught in a lot of lies, do you think that about her?" And I was like, if she's actually been caught in a lot of lies, then yes. And then I asked her, "But what lies? Give me an example of a lie that she's been caught in." And she almost immediately changed the subject. And then I may or may not have been sent a post that I think it was Ashley did. Actually, I was sent a post. Sarah sent it to me. Let's see what that post said. This was the second instance. It took place before 5 a.m. I saw him, heard him as who he addressed himself as Sippy Cup, and said what I had to say. I hope someone actually raises the conversation, because you hear him getting tripped up by their own retarded logic. They are criminals. They are hateful. They are dead ass wrong, and they know it. He denied supporting Sarah Fields in that same conversation, said he had nothing to do with what she does, but is he here on her behalf? I'm pretty sure she meant he is here on her behalf, because she put an exclamation point, not a question mark. Or maybe she's really bad at grammar. And then somebody replied to it based on statements publicly made. He was there to cover the hearing and motions for Fields, as she is out of town and couldn't attend. If he stated they aren't associated, that's a lie. Well, hey, how about this? I literally just told y'all what the fuck I said. We're not on her team. We collaborate with her. Like, that's what I said. I did not say I'm not associated with Sarah. Yes, technically, collaboration is association. Obviously. Unless you're fucking retarded. So basically, I was dealing with sub 80 IQ, I believe. Maybe sub 70. I don't know. Because I was like, I wasn't even talking about you. I can play you the whole conversation of where this came up. And then I got to thinking afterwards, but I'll tell y'all that in a minute. So the whole conversation was, oh no, is Southern in here? Because I know she loved that. Anyways, but yeah, so it was like, oh no. And then the Washington, whatever the fuck, you know, lie, or their anonymous source was wrong again about Anna Paulina Luna and this fucking DOJ charge, and the DOJ came out and debunked it, but it took them for fucking ever. So that's what the conversation was about, and I was specifically talking about ripping the tongues out of, or putting coals in the mouth of, actual media corporations, which would have been a punishment in medieval days. That's what I was talking about. We should bring back medieval punishment, essentially, for the corporations, which would have mean actually removing their FCC license. Because how the fuck a corporation doesn't have a tongue or a mouth, anyways, unless you're retarded, you know.
I mean,
So I guess sub 70 IQ. So I played her the whole fucking conversation. I put my phone right up to her ear as the fucking Black Panther dude was trying to block me from getting close to her. And I'm like, bro, I'm having a fucking conversation with her, but if you touch me, it's fucking on. You know? Either way it goes, I fucking had my phone right up to her ear, let her listen to the whole conversation. And then after she listened to the entire conversation in full context, she still was like, but you were talking about us earlier in this. And I'm like,
oh gosh.
I'm sorry. We have spaces that have multiple motherfucking topics. None of them are associated with each other. We literally change topics all the time because we can handle more than one topic at a time. And this is where I came to the realization. If you've ever watched a TikTok live that they do, they literally only talk about a single subject the whole time. So I guess, I mean, like I said, sub 70. Pretty sure sub 70 is the I know I probably fucking went a little low, but I just went over to get my burger so I can eat some. It's so good. Anyway, so yeah. Anyways, while we were talking, like everybody started surrounding us and like pulling out their cameras and shit. I don't know if you know this. I don't know how many people know this. I was infantry. I don't like motherfuckers surrounding me. It makes me what can we call it? Very unpleasant to be around. How about that? Very unpleasant. And then this North Carolina beats, 100% he's gay and a TikToker from North Carolina or NC Beats or whatever. If he's not gay, he's just not out the closet yet. Anyway, so he starts talking shit, but he's got like the Black Panther in between us and a bunch of other people in between us. He's like, yeah, shut the fuck up, bitch. Yeah, you're a bitch. Fuck you. Shut the fuck up. So I was like, all right, cool. So the adrenaline started pumping because I was, oof, I ain't going to say what I was about to do, but it was not going to be a good day.
Isn't
But
that the guy that has like 18 or 19 arrests for making bomb threats?
that's him. That was actually brought up in trial today. That was funny. Or in the hearing. While he was in the courtroom, too. That shit was so funny. Anyway, so he kept doing all that shit, disrespecting me behind a bunch of people. So what I do? I did exactly what I do to my son. I looked at him and I said, boy, yeah, that got him riled up. Yeah.
They're going to call you a racist just because of that.
Oh no, oh no, they did. As soon as I said that, they that's a derogatory term towards a black man. And I'm like, I guess if he was a man. I'm sorry, but men don't take dicks in the ass. I'm just saying.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right.
Hey. It's true. Anyway. So anyway, after that, I mean, Neek at Night went around me a couple more times, like getting me on her live and on her recordings and calling me Sarah's goon and Sarah's hired gun and racist and a liar. And I have asked them every time they call me a liar, I'm like, point to one thing I lied about. Because I don't post fucking lies. Anyway. So we basically just sat there. Oh yeah, NC Beats was like, oh, you feeling all sketched out because you ain't got your gun on you this time? Because I was like fully locked and loaded in the trial. Right. Little did he know I did have my gun on me. He just doesn't know how to look for a concealed weapon. Fucking idiot.
I usually don't.
Yeah. Fucking idiot, man. I'm like, my gun was on me. Because what they're doing is they're actually giving us a business card from one of the deputies with the number and shit written on the back. And that's how we get our spot. So they're letting us go back to our cars afterwards. So I can be armed and I can have my fucking phone with me because I can go back to my car and bring it over and then leave it in the car. But like right in full view of the deputies that are sitting outside all day. So I ain't got to really worry about them motherfuckers trying to break into my car and get my shit. Yeah. Or if they do, they're probably going to get shot.
I think we need to move to the courthouse now. Have it in the courtroom.
That's what I was moving to.
Okay. Jeez. Cranky.
Anyway, I'm trying to eat.
I know.
Because now
the proper term is sassy, not cranky.
Yeah. Nah. To go to the notes, I actually have to sit there and read the fucking notes. And it's hard to read and eat at the same time. And talk. Read, eat, talk. That's fucking really hard to do.
Well, you're gonna have to figure it out.
All right. So all right. We get in the courtroom. And then about 15 minutes, or well, about 5 minutes in, the prosecutor and the defense go into the back. I'm assuming they're, talking. Maybe to the judge, I don't know. But they go out the back of the courtroom and they're gone for about 20 minutes. And then they come back in and the defense is like all huddled up talking. for another like 10 minutes. And then the judge finally comes in at about 9:30ish. I don't have a watch in there with me, so I'm estimating. So we finally get trial started. And then the judge realizes Karmelo's not actually in the fucking room. So he's like, could you bring the defendant in? So they get Karmelo, bring him in. He's actually in a suit today. Yesterday he was in a green jumpsuit. He's in a suit today, but he's still shackled. Then they did some housekeeping to where he said the order he put out yesterday, he struck the one that said it was going to be a live stream to the public because literally nobody was ready for that. Nobody was set up for that. So it was basically an impossibility to do it because it hadn't even been tested. So they just went with the overflow room, which was like 100 people in the overflow and then 40 people in the courtroom. Let's see where we at. All right, so they bring Karmelo in after the housekeeping. Then the defense requests that he gets his handcuffs removed. So they remove the handcuffs and the waist chain, I guess you would call it, but they leave the leg shackles on just like they did yesterday. And he does have a pencil stash. Somebody asked me that. He does have a pencil stash. I got to see his face today. Yeah, pencil stash and buzz cut for everybody that wanted to know that. All right. It's paragraph 7 that was struck. If y'all look at the orders or if y'all care about the orders. All right. So then Russell Wilson starts questioning. I forget. Oh, who the fuck is he questioning? Okay, so he's questioning the guy that's like basically in charge of setting up the live feeds and everything. And that guy said he never received a request for a live stream for the actual trial. So if he never received a request, he couldn't have planned for it, so on and so forth. All right. That was pretty quick. Then we go into the oh no, that was the public information officer. Okay. My notes are a little bit scattered everywhere, so I'm kind of like deciphering them as I talk. All right. Yeah, he said he would need weeks to set up the live stream, so that's why it wasn't possible. Which he was literally told like a day before. All right. That's really the only thing that was of any kind of substance of the public information officer, kinda. So this is the public information officer, I believe. No, okay, it's not that one. It's the new one. All right, so the prosecutor stands up and he's like, after this, are you going to a budget meeting for the DA's office or for the courthouse or whatever? He's like, yep. And then he's like, do we have the money to put towards live streaming this trial? And he's like, nope, because they would have to get new cameras and shit that could actually do it. And then the prosecutor is like, that's all I got. That was really quick. All right. And we had some technical issues with the screens. It took about 10 minutes to fucking fix. And I don't think it was with the screens because you could still see the mouse, like the cursor on the screen. So it was most definitely the defense's fault or PowerPoint. PowerPoint might have failed, but anyway, it goes. So they had 40 exhibits and 4 volumes of information or evidence they wanted to put in, like the defense wanted to put in. And then the defense is like, the PowerPoint makes it easier to understand. And the prosecutor, being a smartass, obviously stood up and he's like, I object. PowerPoint doesn't make anything easier to understand. And that was actually kind of funny. Everybody started laughing on that one because it's so true. Nobody wants death by PowerPoint. All right. Let's see. So then the defense starts arguing things. I forget who they called in for that. Maybe I should have. Well, he was just kind of talking. He was kind of like testifying himself because I'm pretty sure the public information officer was still the one up there on the stand. Or no, this was. I know what they were doing. So they did all that, and then they did opening arguments. That's what it was. So their first argument is they had bad jury instructions. The defense is arguing that they shouldn't have included the provocation instruction. And they made a whole bunch of dumbass arguments on that, which are dumbass. Anyways, like saying the provocation. I'll tell you the main argument. They're like, oh, the provocation is rarely used and is very often it's overturned at the appellate level, except for this was literally the definition of provocation. Anyways, all right. So the second thing they were going for was a Waller violation, which is a Supreme Court case where, like basically you have to justify making the court less public with like a legal reason and not a I just don't want to do it reason. And they argued that Judge Roach in his interview said he just didn't want to do it because it would have got twisted in the public, which he did say, but that's not the reasoning that was given in the Waller violation or in the Waller paperwork and everything. All right. So, and then their third argument was everything's too much off record. And let me explain a little bit of the nuance of that. So, what Judge Roach and the prosecutor and the original defense team decided was they were going to keep it like off of the electronic system and do it old school on paper, like keep the whole docket on paper to keep it from. Hang on. All right, so to keep it from getting leaked out.
Yeah, we may have lost.
1 second.
Yep.
No, they're talking in the background, and I'm trying to. I don't want anybody to know where I'm at.
Yeah. Understandable. Gotta stay safe. Those people are crazy. Sippi, keep going in just a second. Those of you watching on Rumble and YouTube, if you have any questions for Sippi, you can go ahead and ask them in the chat and I'll write them down and we will get to questions at the end when he's done. So if anything just pops up along the way, go ahead and feel free to put it in the chat.
All right, I think they're done talking. Anyways. She had to say something else, didn't she? All right.
Of course, it's a woman.
So, said off the record, too much. That's what the defense was arguing. Like the new defense, not the old defense, the new defense. Saying that it was a shadow docket is what the new defense is calling it, a shadow docket. So it's not like technically publicly available. He made a good argument to the uneducated on how the law works, right? Because he's saying that, oh, it violates the right to a public court and to be present. But I don't see how he never even argued how it violated to be present. But whatever. I have no idea what this note means. I'm gonna have to think about this one. So I'm going to go on to the next one. So Waller requires a reasonable accommodation for a public trial. Buying like $9,000 worth of new camera systems and then having IT guys set that shit up for like 2 weeks. That's not really reasonable. Like if you wanted that to happen, you should have requested it 2 to 3 weeks before. Anyway. All right. So they also argued that there were no findings in the record. And then they said they had 12 witness affidavits of people that weren't able to get into the courtroom. I don't know who the fuck signed those affidavits, but they're retarded because you could have gotten in the courtroom if you'd have got there early as fuck, like me and Sarah did. Anyways, so they had a verbal agreement about not bringing character to include Carmelo's character into question, right? Like they weren't supposed to pull that into the courtroom, which, as far as I can tell, they did not. They honored that deal. Even the defense attorney himself said it on record that they honored that deal. And then today he wanted to kind of backtrack and say, "Oh no, I don't agree with that assessment anymore." And it's like, bruh, what? I'm sure you don't. Anyways, I don't care if you do. You fucking said it on record. Um, Sorry for the cussing. I cuss a lot. All right, so then yeah, it gets a little dicey here in a minute. Oh, and that long break, the unexplained break that I posted about and during the trial, that was actually when they were deciding if Carmelo was actually gonna testify or not, because they apparently hadn't discussed that before the fucking trial started. Um, because the defense didn't tell them that he was, so they didn't discuss the terms of that, because when you question the defendant and then you're not supposed to bring any character into it, like any of his character into it. So like, oh, you're not that type of person, would have been violating the agreement they had, which would allow the prosecution to come in just fucking swinging hammers and shit. Um, so that's what that whole big, like, it was like a 3 hour delay was. That was Carmelo getting explained to him. Well, first it was the defense attorney and the prosecutor hashing it out, trying to figure out what was what, and then like what's allowed, what's not allowed, and then the defense attorney had to explain it to Carmelo, and then Carmelo's parents came in, he had to explain it to them, and then they had to talk about it, and then it was a whole shit show. But yeah, it was like a 3 hour recess. Yeah, I remember us not even having a fucking clue like what was going on. We just knew that they sent everybody out the courtroom. That's all we knew. All right, so the the new defense the new defense decided that the prosecutor actually broke that agreement. But the crazy part is they never explained how the prosecution broke that agreement, when the prosecution broke that agreement. So, and even the when in the on the prosecution's cross of the defense attorney, the first defense attorney, yeah, they called the defense attorney as a witness, and tomorrow morning is the other defense attorney as a witness. Uh, but yeah, like when he came on and the prosecutor asked him, he's like, basically, he said the prosecutor or he thinks the prosecutor broke the agreement. But then when the prosecutor's like, but I didn't, I never brought character into anything. He's like, I told you you broke the agreement, but I never broke the agreement myself. I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but that's essentially that. Um, Oh, and then they went on about the opinions of the witnesses. So like when the prosecution would ask, "Hey, was this self-defense? Like, do you think this was self-defense?" The defense didn't actually cross-examine those same people, and I mean that's on the defense. That's not really on the. But either way it goes. So lack of cross on that. Um, they also claim that Judge Roach unlawfully eliminated the overflow room. But while the new defense, which honestly doesn't seem very honest, while he was reading the order, while he was reading the fucking order, oh my god, drunk people, hang on. But while he was reading the fucking order, he literally skipped over during jury selection. There was only supposed to be an overflow in according to that order during jury selection. Which there was an overflow for jury selection. So I don't see what the fuck they're talking about there. All right, and then we go into this guy getting terminated and released and threatened with contempt. The guy that leaked the schedule to King Calf.
It was the public information officer, correct?
Yeah. Last name's Jackson. Seems like a stand-up guy. He's got like the most fucking gravelly voice I've ever heard in my life, too. Seems like a stand-up guy. Also seems like it was a legitimate accident because he didn't realize the trial schedule was encompassed in the gag order. And he would send out hearing schedules, so he didn't think anything about the trial schedule. He actually testified that he sent it out to the AP first, and then KingCast asked for it, and he just basically copied the AP's email and pasted it in the KingCast email and sent it. Didn't even think anything about it. I actually kind of feel bad for the guy because he lost his job over this. Because he seems like a legit, just nice guy. Let's see. All right, and then he was threatened with contempt, right, by Judge Roach. He threatened. He said, "I could put you in jail for 6 months for doing this," and you know, but I mean, I think he technically could. Anyway, then he starts arguing that this is all the defense still. He starts arguing that the threats were not prosecuted in Collin County. It's hiccuped. Is that? Anyways, the threats weren't on record and they weren't prosecuted in Collin County. And by the way, on cross, the prosecution came in and was like, well, there was a guy up in, I think, Iowa that got arrested and prosecuted for the threats. And, he started naming off threats that were actually prosecuted. But obviously, they weren't local to Collin County. So why would the Collin County DA be prosecuting them? All right. So the open court thing, like, we're into the prosecution cross of Jackson, the PIO, and all of the public court stuff was agreed to between the prosecutor and the trial defense, like the first defense team, or I guess technically the second defense team, but the one that actually argued at trial. It was all agreed to. And he went on to prove that actually by asking the fucking defense guy. Anyways, so the prosecutor said there was multiple like off record conversations in this type of a murder trial because there were minors involved and they had to keep shit kind of secretive so people didn't get doxxed and shit. And he's like, that's just how we do it in Texas. And when he said that, I'm talking about the whole room kind of halfway erupted with moans and shit. Like they didn't like that. Whatever. I don't give a fuck. Let's see. And actually, the prosecutor said the threats against Carmelo were the actual most prominent ones, and that's why they kept shit off record. I don't know that I believe that because Jeff gets threats every fucking day, multiple. But also, Jeff doesn't fucking report them, so there's that. He doesn't report all of them. He reports some of them. Also, they were like, there's influencers out there monetizing misinformation, and some of them are in the courtroom today. So he did that again. It's funny. He started naming them off actually after this. All right, so let's see. They said the gag order decreased the threat. I don't know that I believe that, but that's what they said. And then they go into asking, do you know who King Cash is or Christopher King, which runs King Cash? And apparently, Christopher King went through law school, but he's not actually licensed by any bar association anywhere. But he was submitting fucking like filings and shit into the case like he was a lawyer on the case, which I think Sarah reported on that a while back. But let's refresh your memories. You know, he was acting like he was a lawyer on the case. Crazy. Oh, by the way, when they brought up his name, he just happened to be standing up at that moment, which was hilarious. He had the deer in the headlights look. All right.
Did he have a dream? I thought
Yeah.
he was king.
All right. Let's see. So the prosecution argued that the morning of the stabbing, Carmelo's girlfriend had complained about him having stalking behavior and they had broken up, which is actually kind of rebutted by the defense. I don't know who I believe on that one because the defense was like, oh, his phone died and the messages were actually sent the night before. And then they actually made up by the time he was at the track meet. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I believe that. But hang on, they're talking again.
Let me be talking.
Someone in the Rumble chat, Angela W50, just said that JD Miles is on TikTok releasing information on the Metcalf twins. So I'm actually looking into that right now. Seeing what I can.
Yeah.
I find kind of strange they're researching two high school kids. A little odd.
Okay.
Just saying.
They stopped talking, so we're back. So another text message that they had, I'm low key on the verge. It was low K, I guess. I don't know if that was a typo, but it was in there twice when they actually showed the text. Was low K, but I guess they translated that into low key because I mean that's probably what it meant, honestly. On the verge of going crazy is what they were assuming, I guess. All right, so then we get to the crazy one where literally Carmelo had a text message saying when I stab SB or somebody, that's gonna I'm gonna lick the blood off the blade. And it's like, what the hell? That's kind of crazy, right? Um So he was literally talking about stabbing somebody and then licking the blood off the blade. This was like October, I think, of 2024 when he sent that message. So it'd been a couple years, but still. Then they brought up that Carmelo actually had been put into a special program at LSU for uh, the way they described it was kids that don't know how to keep their hands to themselves. He didn't know the actual name of the program at the moment, but that's basically what it was. Um, that was when he was younger. Um, and then Tiffany Billions got brought up as having a relationship with Drew Anthony, which is going to honestly help Sarah's fucking defamation case. Uh, and Carmelo himself is the one that decided to not testify. They keep saying that the defense or the prosecution wouldn't let Carmelo testify. No, there were certain rules that Carmelo had to follow to keep up with the agreement of not bringing in character. Because as soon as he brought in his character, they could bring in, they could bring in all the character that they found on him, which was quite a lot, actually. Um, oh, and the provocation instruction was touch me and find out. That was like the justification for the provocation instruction, which that's like textbook provocation. So, and I didn't even realize this. I'm sure Sarah posted about this, but honestly, like when we were covering the trial, I was covering outside, but I didn't even have a chance to read her reports. So I don't know a lot about the trial. Well, I'm getting to know a lot about the trial, but I don't actually know a lot about the trial. Um, I know what I'm hearing now. So touch me and find out was the provocation justification. Um, by the way, the PIO is based because he kept referring to the media as the legacy media, which was hilarious. I was loving that. So he testified, the PIO testified that overflow was tested and ready, but he didn't realize it was only for jury selection, even though it literally said it in the order. So, and then he said he didn't get to explain himself or anything. Like they basically brought him in. A couple people talked to him, like fucking tongue lashing, talked to him, and then they fired him and never even gave him a chance to explain himself or explain what happened. But he just kind of, like you don't have a right to work, you know. So like they can fire you for no reason if they want to. Oh, let's see. Oh, and then they brought up, oh, do you know NCB? Because that was one of the guys that was that's the gay TikToker guy. Um, the one I called boy. Boy. Anyways. So they brought him up because he was messaging the PIO, like emailing the PIO, trying to get information over and over. And then he's like, the prosecutor's like, did you realize he's been arrested 19 times for bomb threats? And he's like, I did not realize that. But yeah. And then to fight against the defense's Waller claim, uh, I'm not re-explaining Waller, so if you don't remember, just fucking rewind it. There was literally a person that was her whole job was to document and give the legal excuses for all the Waller claims or all the Waller issues. But apparently the new defense team decided to completely ignore that woman. I don't like crazy. All right, let's see. Okay. I'm gonna take a break right there and field some questions real quick. And then we're gonna get into the a little yeah, it's not not good for the Metcalf people, or the Metcalf side, but it's also most, if not all of it, is non-admissible in court, so it would have never came in anyways. But anyways, we'll get into that. But questions first on the first half.
I'm going to do the questions from the chat first, and then we'll get to hands. I only have a few. The first one is, how were supporters' reactions when Carmelo Anthony's texts and prior behavior were brought up?
Well, I hadn't made it to that. That's the next half that we're doing.
I know.
But I can tell you their reaction was basically nothing. They didn't see anything wrong with it. But also, there's some nuance to that, but you're gonna have to wait until I get into it. Because yeah, I have order here, even though my notes look like a fucking crackhead wrote them.
I mean, crackhead probably did write them. So I'm going to hold off on a couple of the other questions till the end. But is it true his bondsman was in the courtroom? I don't know if you'd be able to identify his bondsman.
I have no idea who his bondsman is, but he wouldn't have a bondsman anymore.
Yeah.
It would have been his previous bondsman because he's already been convicted. So there's no way he's out on bond anymore. His bond should have been refunded.
Correct. So. All right. So we're going to go to Jay, and then we'll go to Loki. So go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, one thing before I ask my question. The reason why there would be a bondsman, if they were there, is because if he is granted a new trial, he will be released on bond. But my question is, I know we're early into the court day, but I haven't really heard anything that argues for the reason why he deserves a new trial. It seems like to me, at least early on, from what I'm understanding, is they're basically trying right now. Like, it doesn't sound like they're arguing why he deserves a new trial.
Oh yeah, it gets worse. Yeah, you're right on track of what they were trying to do today. But the second half of the day will explain it way more what they're actually trying to do.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Loki.
Go, let's have some fun.
Waiting on you, Loki.
Yep, can't hear you, Loki.
Hello.
There you are.
Hello.
Perfect. Sorry about that. So, appreciate the space. Appreciate the update from you guys. I was talking about this in spaces for most of the day, and I was following JD Miles reporting. It seems as though they're trying to paint the reversal and the retrial on what they're claiming is Anthony not getting effective time to be able to decide whether he's going to testify or not, and then they're trying to say the gentleman's agreement was going to be a way for Anthony to feel like he wasn't able to then testify as he wanted to. I read some of the back and forth between Worski and Howard.
Loki,
And,
you're
yeah.
taking away my second half of the day. That is literally the second half of the day. It's when that was starting to be argued. So that's actually what I'm about to go through.
I'm sorry. All right.
But
Well,
I will get into some details on that and everything, and you'll see what I mean.
let me ask you this then. So I don't want to steal your thunder. Do you have anybody that you were able to bounce this off of, like a lawyer or any other lawyers that were there that felt like that argument could have been effective in any way, shape, or form?
I have not had a chance to bounce it off of anybody but myself. Yeah, unfortunately.
Gotcha.
I'll get there eventually. I'm sure I'll reach out to some of the law tubers or something and see if one of them has a good take on it. But yeah.
Yeah, I just was in a space with an ultra left retarded attorney from California who said it was clear that there's enough to get the reversal. I don't agree with him. I wasn't able to be there a long time because the people in there don't want to hear me speak, so they kicked me off the stage quickly. But yeah, I don't see it. So yeah, I'll let you continue on and go over the rest of the day.
Yeah. So any other questions from the audience? Anything?
Oh,
Jinx?
how many
Doesn't look like
of
it.
the rabble rousers from the other side were there? Would you estimate 50, 100? What do you think?
So, I mean, basically everybody there but me. So, if you, it's crazy. I'm the only one, quote unquote, on the Metcalf side, that's actually in the courtroom. And then when you went over to Overflow, there were only 2 people there for the Metcalf sides. Everybody else was wearing purple and saying free Carmelo and whatever, all that bullshit. But yeah, if that gives you a good idea of how many rabble rousers are there. I actually have a list of the prominent ones, and I don't know if I'll give them the fame, but I know who was in the courtroom and who didn't actually make it in the courtroom and so on and so forth.
Did you have to get up at like 4 in the morning again to get in?
I had to be there at 4 in the morning to get in.
Jesus.
I'm probably going to have to be there earlier tomorrow because they really don't like me. So they're actually actively trying to keep me from getting into the courtrooms. But
Yes, the court staff or who are you talking about?
no, the Carmelo supporters, they're actively trying to get enough people there earlier than me. That's why I've done it at a different. I've shown up at a different time each day, just so they don't know when I'm actually going to be there. So they can't get there before me unless they're getting there at fucking like midnight.
And he will not be
Good
telling
luck.
anybody what time he is getting there tomorrow morning.
Is
No.
tomorrow the final day, or because he has to make this decision by the 24th, right?
Yeah, the decision by the 24th. So tomorrow is most likely the last day, but if they go too slow, then it might bleed over into Saturday. But as far as we know right now, tomorrow should be the last day. Because they're doing the second chair attorney first thing in the morning, and then they're going through some admin people that aren't going to really take that long to examine and cross examine. So hopefully it'll be done tomorrow. Like the court, I don't know if the actual decision will be made tomorrow, but the actual court should be done tomorrow, hopefully. Because I don't know if y'all know this, it's really fucking expensive to do this shit. So, all right,
Sippi,
we're moving
can I
on.
say something before you go on to the
Okay, go
rest of your
for it.
day? Just real quick on the whole of them trying to like prevent you from getting into the courthouse. Imagine the outcry if it were the other way around, because they would rush to X, TikTok, Facebook, all these other platforms and denounce it and call it racism. Imagine if there was 20 or so Metcalf supporters, they're trying to do exactly what they're doing, but they're completely okay with it. It's the hypocrisy and the shit like that is just hilarious to me.
Oh,
But my
it's
bad, brother. Carry on.
insane. It's insane. Like they called me a liar, and then they literally put out a post lying about what I said. Like what?
Or moving the goalpost. That's my favorite part is when they move
Oh,
like
dude, I even
you
had the
point out to them.
goalpost conversation with them. I'm like, you're moving the fucking goalpost. I got the goalpost exactly where the fuck they were at the beginning of the conversation.
They probably don't know how
Right, the
goalposts
whole
move because they're buried in the ground.
my bad, brother. Carry on.
All right, carrying on. All right,
Damn,
so this
Jinx.
is we get back in session about 1:30 in the afternoon because they let us out for lunch. So we get back at 1:30. Defense called Mike Howard, and this is where it starts getting kind of like most of it's actually inadmissible, but I'm gonna tell it because they brought it up. So anyways, oh yeah, I guess I skipped a couple. The overflow was canceled due to lack of tech, not due to really anything else other than they didn't have the technology to do it. But all right, so now we're gonna get into they basically brought up a document that documented all the stuff that they found in discovery on Austin and Hunter Metcalf. which I don't really understand the Hunter thing because a lot of it was Hunter. But this is where you're going to start seeing what they're trying to do, because a lot of this is inadmissible because you're in Texas. You're actually not allowed to bring the victim's character into question without, like, there's one exception that you can do that, and this case would not meet that exception. So apparently the Metcalfs got caught and arrested for doing graffiti, and the graffiti said KKK, kill all black people, and various forms of the N word. And Hunter actually admitted to graffitiing Heil Hitler. So there's that. There's it's basically just a bunch of racist shit that they found on either Hunter or Austin's phone. And I mean, the way it's framed, it does kind of seem like Austin might have been a little bit of a bully, and so was Hunter.
Hey,
And
Sippi, did they
maybe a
say
little bit racist.
did they say
Maybe
how
a
old they
sprinkle
were
of racism.
when they did these things?
So yeah, they on some things they did. Some things didn't have dates on them, but just let me get into it. I have the notes. We'll get there. All right. So another example was, oh, we got one Edgar behind us, which I guess is a racist term towards a ghetto Hispanic male. Anyways, and then they said he was talking wild. And Austin responded to Hunter saying, kill that MF. And then there's another one. We have two new words you gonna punt. I don't know I don't speak this language, but apparently Niz is like short for the hard R, I guess. And I don't know what words you gonna punt means. I have no idea what that means. They didn't explain it either. I have no idea what the fuck that means. Anybody got a fucking clue what that means? I have no idea what that means.
Say it one more time. Say it one more time.
We have two Niz words you gonna punt.
We have two ends that you're gonna punt.
Niz words you gonna punt.
Can you
That's all.
spell it?
Like I don't know.
Niz, N-I-Z?
Yeah, Niz
No,
is
NIHS. NIHS. Apparently, that's the new way to say the hard R. I don't fucking know.
I've never heard it pronounced or said that way, but
Me neither.
Sippi, let me ask you real quick. What is the one exception to introducing character impeachment?
So the prosecutor said there was one exception and that it didn't apply, but he didn't explain what the exception was. Let me go back. I actually wrote down the rule that they referenced.
I'll look it up if you can give me the rule.
Fuck, I don't know where it is. It's somewhere. I don't know. I'll go back and find it once I get through this. I have it somewhere. My notes are literally like a crazy person wrote them. But there is one exception for bringing in the character of a victim in a murder trial. One exception. Otherwise, it's not allowed. And I know it's a Texas code. It's not a federal thing. So it's a Texas code. Maybe that'll help you search it up. But I'll find it where I wrote it down here in a minute. Because I don't know where the hell I wrote it down. But so anyways, they went through 53 instances of racism or aggression, or like it seemed like he had this like going thing where he would be recording himself and saying, I'm gonna slap so and so, and then he would go up and slap him. I don't know if that kind of seems like just being an ass, but I mean, kids are asses. So I don't know. But I think they cherry picked the kids that were a different race. Because I think he probably did it to a bunch of people if he had those recordings. I doubt he just targeted one race. But anyhow, there was a lot about Hunter. Like the first 33 of them were basically Hunter having aggression and shit. And I'm like, Hunter isn't even really part of this, other than he was there. Oh, and I guess he was like, I don't know if he was the first one to step up to Carmelo or something. I don't know. They said something about that, but I think that's immaterial to anything. All of this is immaterial. Uh, and what I noticed was Austin mostly would just use profanity. Like he called his teachers fat bitches and shit and got in trouble and suspended. He got suspended every year for the past 7 years. Yeah. Or some type of suspension, be it in school or out of school. I think most of it was in school. And then they brought up this thing where he was suspended after what they said, talking about bringing a gun to school. But when they showed the messages, it was he was basically talking about a gun. The guy was like, where's your gun or some shit like that. And then the statement from, I believe this was actually from Austin. Oh, you will hear it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. He never even mentioned school. So I don't know what the fuck that's all about. Unless there was more context that they didn't show us, but that's what they showed us. Then I got, I got a couple of exhibits. So you got exhibit 30 is the one where all the Austin and Hunter defense exhibit 30. That's all the, racist and aggressive shit. Even though some of it was like not racist, like some of it was not used as racism, right? But some of it clearly was. So, and then you got exhibit 46, which is really asking about the self-defense question. So if you want to see that one, they brought it up. I didn't feel the need to take any real notes on that because there's a bunch of legal jargon. But exhibit 46, defense exhibit 46. And then you've got defense exhibit 31, which are the Karmelo texts. So you got the Karmelo text where he, the basically fantasizing about stabbing somebody and then licking the blood off the blade. Or he said, when I stab somebody, I'll lick the blood off the blade. So, yeah. Okay. So then they go into anyways, they only showed like two text exchanges between, or from the 75 pages of text messages that the state actually put in. They only showed two of the pages of the text messages that were found on Carmelo's song. But either way it goes. Let's see. And then this is where I write my opinion. So take this as what it is. It is my opinion that they are literally using this to try this court case in the court of public opinion. They literally went painstakingly through all 53 claims of Austin and Hunter's racism and violence, and they showed like 2, maybe 3 pages of Carmelo's violence. Also, they had showed where Austin and I forget. I think it was either I forget which one it was. It was Austin or Hunter, one of them, that got arrested when he was 10 years old for assault because a girl hit him in the face while he was playing flag football and he pushed her down. And then she went to the hospital and had a contusion. And then her mom pressed charges. Yeah. but apparently the moms claimed that they had been bullying her daughter. So Hunter and Austin appear to have been fairly aggressive, but I mean, testosterone does that. Which brings me to my next thing that they brought up to try to smear them. So there was apparently an instance at school, and like I said, I really should have wrote down if it was Austin or Hunter, but they didn't have it wrote down, so I'd have to I was paying attention, but it was hard to fucking tell. But anyways, one of them was basically hating on a guy, saying he was low T, he was a bitch, basically. And then the teacher that wrote him up literally said, has signs of misogyny. And it was a guy that wrote that. So yeah, the teacher also has low T, in my opinion. But yeah, they're basically they just wanted this information to be out there and on the record. Is what I gathered from it. That's my opinion of it. Y'all, I'm just telling y'all everything, but I am going to give you my opinion on what they're actually doing, because a lot of this stuff submitted by the defense was specifically targeting Austin and Hunter, but only a few of the things that the defense showed were actually showing where Karmelo was also violent. And the defense, the original defense that argued the trial, he was very adamant about not breaking that deal. He did not want to break that deal because it would have destroyed his case. So it's like, well, what aren't y'all showing us? Because there's got to be more that would have literally destroyed your case if you didn't want to bring in all this racist shit and everything from the other side. What aren't you showing us? You know? And unfortunately, I was hoping the prosecution was going to bring that up on the cross, but he didn't. All right, now the prosecution comes in. They're like, "Oh, do you know who Tiffany Billions is?" And then she does like TikTok lives, getting donations and shit, and she's disinfo spreader that profits off of death. Yeah, and then he was like, "Yeah, I'm aware of who she is." And then I'm paraphrasing on all this, guys. I'm not doing fucking direct quotes. And then this is the funniest part that I know Sarah loves. I know because I already sent it to her, and she's like, "What the fuck?" Anyways, but so this is them talking about the security. This is prosecution asking the defense that argued the case. He's asking about the security, and he's like, all these influencers spreading all this misinformation. Then he brings up Tiffany Billions, and he's like, "Yeah, I know who that is." And he was like, she was like one of the biggest ones that would do that and was trying to like dox the witnesses and everything. And then he's like, and you even had your own concerns about somebody on the opposite side of the spectrum. And he's like, the previous defense attorney was like, "Yeah, Sarah Fields." And then they kind of just moved on from it. But I thought that was kind of funny. Sarah's nothing like Tiffany Billions. Sarah actually provides receipts. Tiffany Billions provides a hippo face and just asking for money all the time. So that may be my opinion, but it's fucking pretty accurate if you ask me. All right. Either way, guys, there was a lot of misinformation from each side of the spectrum. They had that one autopsy report that came out that literally looked legit, apparently, to like even law enforcement officials and shit that were calling the DA and being like, "I thought this was a stabbing, not a fentanyl overdose." But yeah, so that's when they were like really getting into the meat and potatoes, and then while they were like, this is the prosecution just starting, and then the defense team just started objecting. They did 3 objections within the first 5 minutes of the prosecution doing his cross. And I guess they stopped when they realized the judge wasn't having it, because the judge was like, "What do you mean hearsay? What about this is hearsay?" Oh yeah, he fucking tore into him a little bit. Anyways, the rest of the day was basically the prosecution, rebutting everything that the new defense team had argued, like, oh, this and that, where the prosecution was like, we literally made a deal, did we not? And then the old defense was like, yes, we did. We had a verbal agreement and we followed it to the T, right? And it's like, yes. And it's like, bruh. So basically, he was the old defense guy was leaving out shit just to make it look worse, while the new defense people were fucking questioning. And as soon as the prosecutor came in and started asking him questions that he already knew the fucking answer to, yeah, that man flipped like a fucking pancake, dude. He was just like, nah, no, we ain't doing that, because he'd perjure himself if he fucking lied. Um. Anyway, so basically, it was just a bunch of that. Uh, there wasn't really anything that interesting about it. And if you want to see, I think Marianne Reports is doing like a play-by-play. She's one of the legacy media that's actually in the courtroom, and she live tweets out, and she like does a play-by-play. If you want to hear the play-by-play, or you want to see the play-by-play, that's on X, by the way. Not, I don't know. I don't know if she has a Facebook, honestly, but she's pretty fair in the fact that she's just putting out what they're saying. I don't know about her actual reporting. I haven't actually read it, but as far as what they're actually saying, she's pretty fair about putting that out. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much the day. And then we ended up, you know, the prosecution finished with the defense, or the old defense, which was technically testifying. And then, yeah.
All right. So I'm going to
Fine.
do chat questions.
There was another cross and another cross, by the way, but they were short. They were very short and uneventful. So
Okay. All right. I'm going to do chat questions and then we can do hands. First one, are they going to talk about Carmelo Anthony's bad character more tomorrow since the defense lit into Austin Metcalf today? Obviously, you might not know that for sure. But
I seriously doubt it, because the defense can light into Austin and Hunter all they want. A lot of that wouldn't have been admissible in court. So it's not going to the argument of a retrial. It's literally just trying to get it out there on public record so the influencers can run wild with it. That's really what it is.
I would agree with that. All right. If Carmelo was truly scared for his life, why do you think he sent text saying he was quote unquote low key on the verge and sent a picture of a knife to his ex-girlfriend hours before stabbing Austin?
Oh, yeah. And why did he have the knife open in his bag, in his hand, while he was saying, touch me and see what happens?
Yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't scared for his life.
I don't think he was either. So this actually is a question that I already asked that you didn't really have an answer for. Maybe you still don't. Do we know how old Austin and Hunter were when they got the graffiti charge? Was it recent, or were they maybe like 12 or 13?
Graffiti charge, it was a couple years back. I think it was 23 or 22. I don't remember the exact dates.
So yeah, they would have been around 13. And then
that math again.
um
That would be around 15, by the way. For all you people that actually know how to do math. What the fuck, Jinx?
you said 22, 23, right?
Yeah. 2022, 2023,
Okay.
roughly.
But yeah, so like 13, 14,
That would have been.
maybe 15. But could be as young as 12 depending on, or as young as 13 depending on when that actually was.
Okay.
Like where in the year and stuff like that. All right. And then did the judge say when he will decide? I don't think we'll have that until tomorrow though.
He has to decide by the 24th.
Yes.
So he has no choice. By Monday we will have an answer, or the retrial motion will fail. So, but we have to have an answer by Monday. That's all I can tell you. unfortunately.
All right. Rusty had a hand up first. So we'll go to Rusty and then we'll go to Loki.
Yeah. So I've got two questions. My first question is, I know that you're, taking a lot of time out for doing this, and you mentioned how expensive it is. How can we donate? I didn't see like a Cash App on your profile, or am I missing it?
I mean, all I got on my profile is X Money, I think. I got Venmo. I got Venmo and X Money.
Can you post your Venmo or something like that? Because I'd like to throw you a
Yeah,
couple.
I'll put it in the space comments
Okay,
in
I
the
haven't used
purple pill.
X Money yet. So my second question was, and I apologize, I haven't, of course, been keeping up with this like you guys have. But a lot of the other, I guess you would say, pro Carmelo spaces, I would have tried to listen to them as long as I could, but it really would only be a short time, and I'd get pissed off and I'd have to leave. But they were already talking about during the trial, they were talking about this stuff like the Metcalf brothers were racist and that they were bullies. So all of that stuff was already out. So I guess I didn't know. I thought, well, they're lying. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've got no proof of anything like that. So, I mean, if the other side already knew it and they were making those claims, why didn't that come out, I guess, during the trial, if that makes sense?
It wouldn't be admissible. I'm looking it up now. I found the rules on it. It's 404A3 and 405A. So prior bad acts relating to a witness or to the victim are typically inadmissible.
Why is
Unless
it admissible now, though?
it's not it's not admissible. What they're saying is that this was why the gentleman's agreement was entered into. So the gentleman's agreement was entered into, so it would precipitate having to have motions in limine, which are motions that you file before the judge on either side to determine when certain information is going to be introduced and if it's going to be allowed, and that you're afraid the other side, or the other side is going to challenge it. So before you begin to do that before the jury, you have the judge make a decision in advance and preview what you're going to put in so that he can make a decision and you're not prejudicing the jury one way or the other and potentially causing a mistrial or having a reversible error. So these things wouldn't have been introduced, which is what I was asking Sippi earlier. What is that one exception? I was able to find it. And so that's why this wouldn't be admissible in this case, because these acts are not directly related to the violence. There's no evidence from any of the 35 witnesses plus who testified on behalf of the prosecution to show that any type of racism had entered into this in any way, shape, or form. It's not connected to the violence. There's no nexus between graffitiing a wall with racial epitaphs and actual violence that is going on, especially so when the witnesses are all stating that Carmelo is the aggressor, and that now we have even more evidence through this discovery showing that Carmelo's state of mind was that of someone who was unhinged and looking for a problem, specifically because of his emotional state with the girlfriend. Him specifically saying he's low key, going to go off, and
Be on the
um,
verge.
yeah, low key on the verge, and that he's prepared to stab someone and lick the blood off the knife. This is psychopathic. This is
Yeah.
psychopathic, and this is the mind of a deranged, depraved individual. And this guy, in my mind, this is why Roper v. Simmons was such a terrible decision in 2005 by the Supreme Court, because of the abomination known as Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the other liberal lunatics that were on that court. And we should have the death penalty for minors, because this kid should be swinging from a tree, in my estimation. He should face the death penalty and he should be swinging.
Yeah. But anyways, I cut out. I don't know what happened. I missed out on the last part of Rusty's statement.
Oh, Sippi, don't you have a GoFundMe also?
I have a Give Send Go, but I'm not going to put that out unless I literally have to. Because because it's kind of scummy, skeezy.
Fair enough.
Well, so I guess I'll ask you a opinion question. What do you think? How if you had to bet $1,000 right now on how Judge Chitty was going to rule, whether to reverse and grant a new trial or to say no, there's no retrial, there's no reversal. How would you vote, or how would you bet?
Judge Chitty has one hell of a poker face. I'm gonna tell you that much. I cannot read that man. He is like stone faced as he's like, if whoever's talking, like asking him the questions, he turns his head towards them. And when the witness starts answering, he turns his head towards them. He never makes a single fucking emotion. The man's been doing, he's been a judge for over 20 years. Like he is the senior judge in this other county. Like he knows what he's doing, but he knows how to not let anybody know what he's thinking. Yeah, I have no idea what that man's thinking.
I have another question
But
here from the chat.
okay.
Do you think when the retrial gets denied, they'll dox the judge? And then I'll comment on top of that, on the day of the announcement, if it gets denied, you should ask the police to escort you to your car.
I can escort myself. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it if it get doxed, honestly. Unfortunately. But
Yeah, I think it's going to be a
wouldn't put
shit
it
show.
past them. Yep.
I mean, I think it's going to be a shit show regardless, but
Yeah.
it's going to be a gigantic shit show when the inevitable happens and he's declined a new trial.
Yeah. But yeah. So
Well, this isn't. I mean, even if when that does happen, right? This isn't over at that point. They can then create. They're creating a record to go to the appellate division next, right? So then the appellate.
no, not necessarily. This is considered an appeal, technically. Technically, it's not actually an appeal, but they're considering it that. But a lot of the defense's argument is that the old defense didn't actually bring stuff up and have it put on the record, so they can't appeal it. Like, because if it wasn't in the trial, how are you going to appeal it, right?
Correct.
Oh, that makes sense. But
Yeah.
there's no. See, I mean, in my mind, I would think even if this judge denies it, right, they're going to then say or attack the same type of arguments and ask for a full and bank opinion to be rendered by the appellate division, because this is just one judge. They're going to then say, well, no, we need to have the whole panel of appellate division judges rule on this because this judge got it wrong. I mean, that's what I think they're going to do, because this is what they're grandstanding, right? They're looking for more money. They want to make the name for themselves. That's naturally what they're going to do. Especially you got
that's essentially what they're doing. Yeah.
I think the way it goes is right now they're at the appellate level, and then they'll go to the states. If they fail here, it'll go to the state Supreme Court, and if they fail at the state Supreme Court, then they'll go to the Supreme Court, which we all know how that goes.
Well, actually, I mean, it can be denied with prejudice, I believe, which makes it where they can't appeal it.
I don't think that's how it works. You can't deny them the right to go to the state, because that any judge could do that.
Well, yeah,
against any appeal
you actually
decision.
can. You actually can if it's a frivolous thing. That's the way to keep the frivolous shit out of the Supreme Court's
Yeah, so
pocket.
I'm reading up on this a little bit. So in Texas, a person convicted of murder can generally file only one direct appeal. So it's one appeal directly to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. And so they have 30 days from the final sentencing to file a notice of appeal. That's what's going on right now. He filed a motion for a new trial or other post-conviction relief, and that can be appealed to the CCA, but it's still considered a single appeal from the original conviction. So
right, but they could go up the ladder, right? That's the whole point of having the the appeals process, right? To go to Texas Supreme Court. Then after Texas Supreme Court, you'd have to then apply for writ of certiorari at the Supreme Court, and that's not going to happen here because they only grant certiorari to 80 cases a year.
Right.
And there's no real constitutional issue here that needs to be decided. I mean, this is pretty open and shut. These idiots are just trying to make a show of it again to make a name for themselves and chum the water.
Well, and my previous question from before he went on to the rest of his day was, I didn't hear, even in the second half of the day, I didn't hear anything that stated why they deserved a new trial. Like there was nothing brought up that said, hey, you know what? This happened in this trial that shouldn't have happened. Or this didn't happen at the first trial that should have happened or should have been brought up. I didn't hear none of that. Am I the only one who didn't hear anything like that?
They're going to use the gentleman's. They're using the gentleman's agreement as to couch everything, to say that this informal gentleman's agreement put Anthony in a position where he felt like he could not testify and get a fair shake because they were going to introduce evidence that they had prior through the gentleman's agreement not agreed to introduce. But that's not how it works, and the attorneys knew. Howard even admitted that. Because if you go back and read, if you go back and read what J.D. Mills laid out, he actually gives the almost like a transcript of back and forth between him and Worski, and Worski actually gets him on at the end saying like, "I'm looking you in the eye right now, like you don't think that we asked this in good faith?" And he said, "Well,
Yeah, he was basically like, "Are you calling me a liar?" While
yes."
the guy's under oath, which was fucking hilarious. He was squirming, dude.
And he had to admit that no, he didn't break the agreement. Worski didn't break the agreement, and he just didn't understand how he. This is how he framed it, how he phrased it. I don't understand how you couldn't understand what we thought, which
Yeah,
was like
so
nonsense.
basically, he tried to frame it as a misunderstanding or I guess like I thought this meant one thing, you thought this meant another thing, and we never actually hashed that out until, it came down to it. But the problem is when, so, fuck, I lost it, dude. It's been a long ass day, dude.
It has been a long day.
Getting old sucks, doesn't it?
No, that's all right. Take your time. You were talking about the
I've been up
gentleman's
since
agreement.
2:30. So,
Oh, dude,
Yeah, you should probably get some
about to be
sleep, man.
you about to be up 48 hours straight, brother. Shit.
yeah, I'm aware.
But that's how they're doing
Anyways,
it. Right?
so let's see. What the hell was I saying?
The
You
You're
gentleman's
talking about the
agreement.
gentleman's agreement and Worski going back and forth about the misunderstanding, or Howard saying it was a misunderstanding to try to save face, I guess, for what he initially asserted was that he
basically,
broke
he
the
never
agreement.
actually admitted that the prosecutor was correct or the prosecutor was right on that. He never fully admitted that. He always put that nuance in of we just misunderstood each other and we never fully hashed it out, kind of thing. But that sounds like a personal fucking problem, not a constitutional one.
And so, if you can explain this, because I was questioning this as well. Why does if Worski has all this evidence, right, and it's this 404 evidence, which is impeaching the character and proving state of mind for Anthony, what was his rationale and logic behind not wanting to introduce that and quote unquote try the case cleanly based upon the facts under the tent?
You talking about the defenses?
No, the prosecution. Like, why would the prosecution agree to?
Well, so it was so the character stuff of Austin and Hunter wouldn't get brought up because it was going to inflame tension. For no
Okay, so it
apparent
was more
reason.
like for a court of public opinion, like in what was happening around
Yeah,
the case.
yeah, exactly what they're doing right now.
Oh, well, that answers my next question. 'Cause I was going to say I've never heard of them not introducing character, like how their character, whatever, right? I never heard of that. Like you always hear, oh, well, this was their frame of mind. This is what they were thinking. This proves they're a psychopath or whatever, right? But now that kind of answers that question because, like, if you're right, if they would have introduced that, then they could have totally brought up the fact that, well, Austin and Hunter, they were kind of. Wouldn't you agree that they were kind of racist? Like, so
But they
yeah, okay,
could, but
never
they
mind.
couldn't because, like I read
Yeah, they technically couldn't.
in the
Yeah.
403A, I think it's 403A 3, right? That shows that you can't, it's inadmissible because it's not directly connected with the nexus of the violence. How are you connecting them being racist with the violence that occurred? That because there was no evidence and no witness testimony that stated that he went up to him because he was black. He went up to him because he didn't belong under the tent. He could have been purple. He could have been white. He could have been anything. It didn't matter.
Now,
There's
there
no
was
nexus.
stuff. There was stuff that was in there that would have been admissible, I do believe, because it was like there was one thing that was very similar to the current situation or that situation, to where freaking it was track meet. Somebody sat behind them, and they were basically going to fight him to make him move. So there were things in there that the defense probably would have got through, but I don't think any of the racist stuff would have came in at all.
So wait a second. You're saying there was another similar event where Austin was going to fight somebody at a track meet where somebody was behind him and they wouldn't move?
Well, it was actually Hunter, and he said the guy's talking crazy, and then something like I'm gonna beat his ass or some shit like that. But yeah, there was a very similar situation, so that would have probably got in.
I don't know if that would have, because then that could be considered propensity evidence, and you can't introduce propensity evidence because it has an ability, or it has
Because it has a propensity.
well, yeah, it has the propensity to be prejudicial, and then that you're not giving the again, this goes towards those exceptions to the rule, and why most of the time it's inadmissible in Texas to introduce reputational evidence against the victim unless it directly impacts that the victim was the aggressor, which in this case he was not. Right? He basically tells him to move. This kid's ready to rock. He's got his hand on the blade; it's already open. A shove on the shoulder then is not proportional to the deadly force that was used against him, and
Oh
that's why
yeah,
the
so
jury
yeah,
found as they did.
none of this has anything to do with the conviction, in my opinion. The conviction would still stand even if all of this came in. Right.
Right.
Oh yeah, because they couldn't prove that that Austin, not Austin, that the damn, I can't think of his name right now. They wouldn't
Karmelo.
be able to prove. Yeah, they wouldn't be able to prove that he knew any of that, and then that
Yeah.
in
Correct.
fact would have been the reason why he wasn't feared of his life, because he knew anything. Which obviously he wouldn't have been able to know anything like that. So yeah.
Well, this
Yep.
actually is a can of worms they're opening up. Let's say, okay, he gets a new trial. Let's say that, hypothetically, right? Judge says, yeah, you know what? This wasn't fair. The gentleman's agreement was no good. It did present a unfairness, a partiality to the prosecution, and we have to give him a new trial. This now gets to come in, and this evidence, there's not going to be a gentleman's agreement. And if you look at, I don't know who the judge is going to be. I don't know if it would be Judge Chitty, but Sarah put it on a post yesterday that I think the case was Mendoza. The defendant was found guilty initially, reversed on appeal, gave him a new trial. Judge Chitty is the judge at the new trial. In the first trial that he got reversed on, Mendoza, he had 45 years. Comes back, found guilty again before Judge Chitty. Chitty gives him 50 years. So I think based upon
Yeah,
well, that was
oh,
another
man.
thing that the prosecution said, that this actually saved him on sentencing, because he didn't bring this stuff
Yes.
up in sentencing when he could have, and it would have made it like way more years.
Yes, because it proves depraved mind. I mean, now when the jury's going, think about that. When the jury's going back and they're debating how long to give him, the 35 years was a gift. It was a gift. And they're probably saying, oh, he was a kid, he's got no priors, blah, blah, blah. There was no evidence introduced. The mother crying on the stand, begging for mercy, yada, yada, yada. The infantilizing of him by the defense. They come back with 35. All right, we're gonna sit him down, but we're gonna give him a chance to have another life, at 50 years old. This comes in now that this kid's ready to lick blood off of a knife. I mean, bro, you're coming back.
Let me. Go
Yeah.
ahead. I'm sorry. No, I was
No,
gonna say
I-
let me play victim, or let me play devil's advocate. Let's say that the judge does grant them a new trial, and with all this that's being, what they're saying, with all this evidence that could be in the new trial, do you think there's a possibility that the new defense team could come in and say, "All right, we'll settle for 15 years instead of 35"?
I don't
Do
think
you
there's going
think
to be
that's a
an.
possibility, or do you
I
think
don't
they're
think
going
there's
for
going to
full
be an.
acquittal?
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be an offer, though. I don't think. No, I don't think. I think that at this point, like, this is a message that needed to be sent about this type of conduct not going on in Collin County, and so I think that the same. From I've been to Texas twice, and it's too hot for me. But everything I read about Texas, man, is they don't fuck around. They're executing people left and right, and it's law and order. And this is not the type of conduct that they're going to allow down there. And so I don't think they're going to make him an offer. I think that they're going to go again full bore, and he's going to get convicted. And this time it's going to be even worse. So, like I said, I think if they're opening up a can of worms here, they should just take the 35, try to be a model inmate, get the parole at the 17 and a half or 18 years, and count your blessings. But they don't want to because they're retarded.
Sub 70 IQ.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what? We know what's coming. You know what's coming, and it's so easy to see it. There's a new crime bill coming, and guess who's going to be enforcing all these things? It's not going to be human beings. It's going to be robots and fucking drones connected with electromagnetic pulse wave weapons, as well as gassing, like a knockout gas. So you're going to have total panopticonic surveillance. They're going to be
Is it going to
watching.
be made in Germany?
Maybe it could be a final solution.
I mean, they're pretty good at gassing things, ain't they?
At the end of the day, you're going to get
Damn.
gassed, and what's
I
going to
know that was
happen is
dark, wasn't it?
another robot
That
is
was a
going to
little too
come and
dark.
pick you up and take you to the correction center, and you're going to be corrected at the correction center, and you're not going to have any of these problems. You want a vision of the future? Look at Westworld season 3 and 4, and look at The Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. That's where we're going. So we're not going to have to worry much more about this, I don't think.
I did not see that coming.
Yep.
Anyways, are there any more questions? Because I'm about to get off of this and try to relax for a little bit.
Yeah, we gotta close it out. Are we gonna do this again tomorrow? Sip?
Appreciate you, brother. Rest up.
Yeah, I guess we'll do this again tomorrow and try to keep everybody updated.
And we're gonna aim for 7 Central.
I have no idea. I
Or
think we're probably going to
let's
end
go
up
for
going
8.
tomorrow until it's done.
Okay.
I think that's probably what Judge Chitty's going to do, but I don't know that for a fact because he didn't say. But
All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to schedule a space for 7 Central. That way you guys can go ahead and hit reminders for it. And if we have to push it back, we will. Just know that time won't be firm. So that's like the earliest that I can do because I have to go to work tomorrow. So yeah, I'll get that scheduled in the next like 20 minutes or so and get that out there so you guys can RSVP. I'll get it scheduled up onto our streaming platforms so that everything's ready to go. And we'll be back tomorrow. Sippi will post updates as he can throughout the day. And if he has any video that he ends up taking, I believe he's going to be sending it to Truth to flip if need be.
Yeah, I could do that.
yeah, you better be up early as fuck.
Well, he's also going to be at work, but he can
What the
edit.
fuck?
He can edit at work when he has
I
downtime,
guess I'll
whereas
be
I
editing
can't.
the shit I guess I'll be editing the shit on the ground because like the morning updates, I got to do those. Even though this morning I didn't actually watermark it, I just fucking put it out there. But whatever. I was also kind of pissed off this morning.
Yeah, try not to scare us again tomorrow, bro. Because I watched that video and I had that Dwight from The Office moment. Like, shit. I was not expecting that.
Or I'll work at 7 in the morning. I'll be up early enough.
Yeah, and then I can possibly do some before I go to work, or at the beginning of my training. I'm in training all day. It's stupid.
Well, maybe if you're like, why you got to train? if you like, you already know your job. Why you
They're
train?
going to need you to come in on Sunday and get those TPS reports in too.
Oh no, it's like 5 hours of social emotional training. Oh yeah. Woo.
All right, I'm outie. Deuces.
All right, man. Be safe.
All right, everybody. Have a good Friday,
Good
and we'll
night.
see you tomorrow night.